Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Invision podcast, Inside the Brand Experience, where we discuss trends and approaches that cut through the noise and allow brands to own every moment with their audiences. Today, I'm super excited to welcome Rodrigo Espinosa to the podcast. Rodrigo joined us. He's, I think, at the 60-day mark approximately. Joined us not that long ago as SVP Integrated Campaigns. And I'm super excited to chat with him today, hear more about his background, what he's done, and also what he is excited about doing at Invision. It's definitely an area that we're looking to grow in as an agency. We've dipped our toe in some campaign work over the last couple of years, and we know there's a lot of opportunity to take experiential forward into more of a campaigns approach. So, Rodrigo, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Excellent. Maybe to open up, do you want to tell us a little bit more about your background, even prior to Envision and the things you've done and what brought you to this moment in time?
Sure. Thank you. I've been involved in experiential marketing now for, gosh, a long time, 2 decades plus, and even going back to my college years when I ran my own agency of event and travel agency out of my dorm room. And so I've been involved in this space forever and really love it and love the design aspect of it, love the brand aspect and the manifestation of a brand in a physical environment, digital environment, and spent time at large agencies, spent time doing global work, both in Latin America and other regions. Spent time leading strategy teams, spent time leading business development teams and client service teams. So I've been able to see kind of like the whole gamut of what it takes to really create an experiential program that has an impact for brands and for our clients. And it's been a great ride.
That's awesome. And as you think about your role at Envision and sort of taking the reins here, what are some things that you're excited about and that you see with sort of in the industry, how it's evolved and where it's going?
I mean, we're in such a dynamic space, right? I mean, the industry's evolved so much. COVID was clearly a significant point in time that changed our industry and changed so many different industries 5 years ago. And being part of Envision is really where the excitement kind of comes in, right? You have 30 plus years of an excellent organization creating campaigns, messaging that drives people to action. And that's really at the core of what experiential ultimately does, which is create an environment, create the manifestation of a brand, create a design that ultimately is moving a brand forward in some shape, way, or form from a business perspective, cultural perspective, growth perspective. And so for me, coming and joining Envision at this particular moment in time with our fairly new CEO and her vision and what like she likes to say, going from the ballroom to the going from the ballroom beyond the ballroom, which is where our core is an exciting time as a catalyst of that growth. I think what's really fascinating about and unique about one of the many unique things about Envision is that we are experts in moving people emotionally, in crafting messages that emotionally resonate, regardless of the channel. And so, from an integrated campaigns perspective, we've already won awards on that front. We've done this work for quite a bit of time. My job is to accelerate that work, but it's really come second nature to us, and our clients know that, which is if you're looking to really drive your business forward from a communications perspective and experiential perspective, Envision knows how to do that from a human to human perspective. It's an exciting time to be here and be part of that evolution.
Absolutely. Yeah. Love that. And so, okay, when you say integrated campaigns, can that is one of those marketing terms that I think people may have different potential interpretations of in the land, particularly of B2B marketing and beyond, really. What does an integrated campaign mean in practice? And then how does that differentiate from a standalone experience or event?
That's a great question. And yes, it's important to define integrated campaigns or even just marketing as a whole, right? Because they cut such quite a wide raft. From our perspective, integrated campaigns is the expertise of seeding a message throughout different marketing channels, right? So whether you have a keynote or an expo floor or an event or a digital campaign that has some outdoor aspects to it, how you seed that message across different marketing channels to drive an audience, a variety of audiences to some action that is obviously predetermined from a business perspective and a brand perspective. That's how we view integrated campaigns, right? And so we're taking our expertise of 30 plus years of knowing how to do that really effectively for top tier brands around the world and seeding that and engaging across different channels. To circle back to one of the parts of your question is that experiential was at its origin an actual moment in time, right? A moment in time where something popped up, literally, if it was a pop up or a B2B conference or a B2C engagement or a Super Bowl, if you will, something that popped up in a moment in time where a brand used that moment in time as a catalyst to impact people. But again, it was within the guardrails of that moment in time. In today's marketing landscape, those moments in time are happening 365 24/7 and globally, right? With the advent of obviously of social media, which we have now 15 years of, but with the advent now of AI that we're leaning into as well. But you have essentially everyone that is participating as their own media channel, right? And you want to create an environment where that moment in time expands throughout different aspects of where you're meeting your audience on their terms. And so experiential, the way I see it, is really at the center of the marketing strategy now, right? It's the content engine. It's taking that emotional aspect of what is happening at that moment and expanding it. And we're very, very good at doing that. Our integrated campaign practice, as I noted, has won some awards for doing this very, very well, and we're just looking to expand that expertise with our current and future clients.
Great. Love all that. When I think about the world becoming more and more digitized, right? It's just everything is around us with AI. And certainly, like you said, social media has been around, and now Gen AI and all the other aspects of that are making our world much more automated. It seems that the importance of gatherings and experiential and really feeling a brand sort of like in person or somehow coming to life is becoming more important. Would you agree with that? Do you think that, you talked about human to human, and so would love your perspective sort of on the overall trends going on in the industry.
Yeah, I think that technology is a wonderful catalyst of so many different things, and we're here in Silicon Valley, and we live it every day. And I think with AI now very much in the forefront, what's really happening is the long tail effect, right? Which is a book from like the late '90s, early 2000s, Web 1.0, which had talked about, bookstores will disappear, but those very unique community focused bookstores that offer a value beyond the actual tangible product of a book are the ones that are going to survive. And I think from an experiential perspective, we're in that place right now where gathering together as a community, as a tribe, gathering together with like-minded people or a diverse group of people to learn or to learn something different is really becoming a long tail scenario. It's a unique aspect of living our digital lives. To your point, we're always in digital, that we're looking for that physical, more intimate gathering of humans, right? And as humans, we are tribal by nature. We look for that environment, and we are in the business of crafting, designing those elements that drive people to want to be there, to want to share, to want to gather, right? And have the conversations that are ultimately fruitful for whatever endeavor they're gathering to be around. We're very big believers in the human to human aspect. People talk a lot about B2B, business to business marketing, or business to consumer marketing. I've always been a believer of a human to human. I think regardless of the channel, it's still humans who you're marketing to and humans who you're trying to persuade certain behaviors forward. And now more than ever, because we're so digitally engulfed in messaging, that human aspect is becoming paramount for every brand, whether it's a business to business brand or they see themselves as a business to business brand or business to consumer brand or an H to H brand, human to human brand, which is where I lean more towards.
As we think about kind of switching it to the client perspective of, kind of how they view things and what's in it for brands, what is, I guess, the value for the client coming at it from more of an integrated perspective versus looking at these, programs as potentially one-offs? How do they benefit from that? And also, like a secondary part of that, do you think that brands themselves are creators? Like we talk about, the humans being creators these days. Everybody has social media. Everybody, can claim they're an expert on every topic. But where do brands sit in that world? Are they also sort of creators, do you think?
Yeah, I do. I certainly believe. I think every brand is a media brand, and every brand has the potential to express themselves and have a voice and a tone. And you're seeing that with so many different brands, whether they're in the B2B space or the B2C space, of being of having their own voice, essentially their own voice, their own tone, their own positioning. And I think that that's paramount in today's marketplace. And when you look at designing an experiential program, you look to the tone and the tenor and the voice of a brand, right? And are they serious? Are they funny? Are they a combination? Are they extroverted? Are they introverted? And our creatives have a phenomenal way of uncovering that and finding the purpose of the brand and how that purpose exemplifies itself into the marketplace with its audience. And so, yeah, I absolutely believe that all brands are essentially media brands, and if they're not in today's marketplace, looking at it that way, they're really missing out on potential equity there and engagement in a more authentic way with an audience. From an integrated campaign perspective and integrated marketing perspective, I think it comes down to a number of different things. One is the leverage, an economic leverage, right? As an organization, internally or externally, and you're looking and you're creating a lot of content around that and messaging, you want to be able to leverage that messaging across different platforms, across different time zones or timestamps. So there's an economic aspect to taking what you're creating for that particular moment in time and expanding it across an integrated plan. And then there's also the fact of consistency, right? Brands need to be consistent. Their messaging needs to be consistent. And if you don't look at it from this is what we're going to communicate, this is how we're going out into the world, and you just kind of let it take on its own life versus a strategic plan across platforms, you're going to run the risk of the messaging not resonating the way you'd like it to resonate, right? Now, there's some flexibility in that because you want audiences to co-create and own part of that messaging as well, back to the creator economy. But the core aspect really needs to be there from a what the brand purpose is, the brand manifestation, and what we're saying to certain audience segments, right? And finally, from an integrated perspective, oftentimes brands have internal audiences, they have external audiences, they have partner channels, they have executive audiences, they have the press as an audience, they have future clients as an audience, current clients. So there's a lot of segmentation of who they're speaking to. And our practice and the way we look at it from an integrated perspective is we're experts at being able to craft a message across those different segments that is still consistent but will resonate with those audience members in the way they want to hear that audience or the way they want to feel that message.
I think that's really at the core, right? Is understanding audiences and audience behaviors. And that's something that we definitely take pride in at Envision in terms of the insights and being able to kind of get at the behaviors that are underlining that experience. So I think that's core. And you said things like content. I think of something we've talked about for some time is around content atomization, right? Events and experiences act as a forcing function. So just one example of efficiency is, all right, you've created all this great content for your event. How do you take that and then utilize it throughout the year and, you know, find a way to create like a campaign where you're utilizing that content on an ongoing basis to continue to engage your audience going forward, really leveraging the content that you've already created for the event. So anyway, that's one thing that came to mind. So I think there's so many examples and use cases. Are there any things that you would recommend? Much of our audience, not all, but much of our audience are event profs and folks that are in the world of events and experiences. If they wanted to dip their toe further into experiential and campaigns, is there something off the top of your head would be a good place for them to start in terms of thinking about a more integrated approach to their own work? Any tips?
Yeah, I think one, embrace AI, right, in a big way, because AI is going to take the personalization of an event, the experience of an event, and it's going to put it on steroids, right? You're going to be able to use your bot, use AI to have AI customize your agenda, customize your time there, advise you on where to go, how to go, where to go, all these different aspects. So I think we in the event space, we at Envision are certainly embracing AI and bring it into our day to day and our campaign and our work and so on. So I think that's certainly somewhere to start, and for sure today, given what's happening in our space and in the marketing space as a whole. I would also say, from an experiential perspective, there was a time, a long time ago, where it was an event that started this day and ended this day, and we focused on that, and we focused on the logistics of it, and all that still remains to be very, very important. But I think looking at experiential with a wider lens, a lens that involves an array of different audiences, an array of different channels, as we've noted, and how does experiential play in that, when you look at it from through that lens, right? Which is what we have done very fruitfully with current clients, and are doing with some new ones. Which is, yes, we have this amazing moment in time. We have this experiential. We have the manifestation of your purpose and what your brand stands for. Who are we speaking to? What do we want to say? What is the current state of states? What is the current behavior? What does success look like? Not just in this moment in time with what we've looked at it before, but across the organization and across the geos if it's a global program, and really look at experiential from that point of view. It's and look at evolving it from into integrated campaign 365, 7 days a week kind of scenario, right? And expanding our view or our definition of audiences that we speak to. Oftentimes internal audiences are forgotten, and they shouldn't be, because they're the carriers of the brand, and they are mini media organizations in their own right. Sometimes your partner ecosystem is looked at as just a plug-in to an event, and they should be, in my opinion, that ecosystem also is a media outlet and a media moment, and for those partners to really engage and connect with the brand and with the campaign. So really looking at just a lot of different angles where you can really amplify the experiential execution.
Yeah. And you mentioned what is the criteria for success? So I'm curious as to some thoughts, high level, on measurement. When you think of an integrated campaign, what are some key things that brands should be looking for that goes kind of above and beyond a survey you might do post-event, right? Like, is it about more
Mm-hmm.
reach, impressions? Is it, resonance of message,
Yeah, I
engagement,
think
things like that?
yeah, I think those are all very good. I think depth of reach, right? When you're looking at, did your message resonate with the audiences you were looking to reach, right? And was it fruitful for them? Did they feel that it was talking to them, right? I think in the work of integrated campaigns, it's a number of it's logistics of, okay, we're going to do an outdoor campaign with a digital campaign with an influencer campaign. We have a keynote coming out of this moment in time as well. We're going to road show this to another horizontal event. So we're going to be doing a couple stops along the way at key clients, et cetera. So looking at all those moments as essentially mini marketing campaigns that bubble up into a larger marketing campaign, right? This comes from the world of brand and brand layers and a brand pyramid. And so the measurement is going to be different depending on what your objectives are. And it might be, measuring an integrated campaign can get fairly complicated, because by the sheer nature of it, you're speaking to different audiences in different channels. And so those channels sometimes resonate differently as well, right? You're not going to measure a digital channel the same way you'd measure an outdoor campaign. And so look at the channels, look at the audience, and see if the messaging is really cementing or landing, if you will, with that particular audience. And that'll tell you how successful the campaign is going to be, or it was.
Yeah, great. Those are some great words of wisdom to folks just starting out in this path. So I think, it's there's a lot of great things to look into. You gave us a lot of food for thought today. I think any other thoughts on, I guess, the future of experiential? We touched on AI, we touched on some elements of content. Anything else, I guess, on personalization that you want to touch on, or other just trends that you're seeing?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's such an exciting time, and we say this always, but because it's always an exciting time, but it's such an exciting time to be, particularly in experiential, because as experiential gathers increased momentum and increase view within the C-suite of an organization, right? From a CMO to a CFO to the CEO. experiential becomes much more impactful. And from an industry perspective, we are in some ways just growing up and starting to be in those rooms more than we may have been in the past. And those rooms become, several different budgets start to play into there, whether it's PR budget, data budgets, et cetera, social media budgets, as well as event budgets. And so for us as an industry, we really have to be able to represent and speak to the impact that experiential has in those rooms, with varying budget owners and other agencies that have other disciplines, and have it work well together, which is ultimately what integrated campaigns strives to do. And so I would just say, from an industry perspective, think beyond the moment in time, if you will, and really look at as experiential as the catalyst, the content engine, and ultimately, and I use this all the time, but ultimately the manifestation, physical and digital, of a brand. And that's that for me. That's where we really get traction as an organization, as an industry, as a discipline. And it's an exciting time because lots of C-level executives and senior level communications executives are looking to us, to our industry, to really have an impact on their business objectives. And that's a great place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have exciting times ahead. And really want to thank you for coming on the podcast today and speaking with us. I appreciate your time, Rodrigo, and tell our audience to be on the lookout for the next episodes
Yes.
of Inside the Brand Experience.
Yay. Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Sure thing. Great. Thanks again.